So this, well, I need more space here. This will kind of help you guys remember, and if you weren't here, number 3, if you weren't here Monday or Tuesday, number 3 can kind of maybe give you a clue as to what you missed. You guys remember the first kind of factoring? Probably not, that we learned. We did some of it yesterday, a little bit. I called it
Take stuff out.
Take stuff out. Yeah, you did it.
Let's go. You said I didn't like that.
Take stuff out. So an example of take stuff out is 3x cubed minus 6x squared. And what goes into both of those terms?
3x squared.
3x squared. So 3x squared can be divided out of both those. And then in parentheses you put what's left if you divide both of those by 3x squared. What's left on this first term? Just 1x. Negative minus 6 divided by 3 is 2. And x squared divided by x squared is 1, but 1 times 2 is 2, so it just goes away. So that was take stuff out. We did some of that yesterday on the worksheet that you guys have. But we learned that was like the first thing we did after the test we took. Number 2, and this is the second method we learned we have done the most by quite a bit, probably. I don't remember if I named it this, but it's basically a 3-term factoring. Trinomial factoring, maybe I guess you could call it. You guys know what I mean by that? Like x squared minus 4x minus 5. Do I need to review that? You just said, this is the simple version, and then the trickier version was more like 5x squared minus 4x minus 1 or something like that, with the number on the front. So on the simpler version, it was what goes into x squared, x times x. What goes into negative 5, that adds up to negative 4. 1 and negative 5, right? Multiply to negative 5, add up to negative 4.
Yep.
Okay, that was, I think that was like Friday, right before the break. We graded it on Monday. By the way, Caden and Olivia, you have that to turn in. Friday, this was Friday's assignment right before the break. I think it was like 411 or something. Like, maybe. Okay, the harder version is, I guess we did this on Monday. So you guys, some of you might have missed this. If there's a number on the front, so I can't just put x and x on the front like I did this one. What goes into 5? 1 and 5. So instead of x and x, it's like 5x and 1x. 5. And on the back I say what multiplies into negative 1, but I no longer ask that adds up to negative 4. What multiplies into negative 1? Negative 1 and positive 1. And to see if this actually is right, we did the outside and inside of the FOIL. If the outside and inside of the FOIL give us the middle term, then it's right. And if it's not, we got to try something else. Like usually try different numbers, but there's only one thing that can go into 1, so there's not a lot of stuff we can do here. So anyway, on the outside, we get 5x times 1. On the inside, we get minus 1x, which is 4x. But we actually want negative 4x for our middle term. So if you get the right number, but it's the opposite, you just need to make your signs opposite. So make that a plus, make that a minus, and now you're good. So if you wanted to, you could always FOIL the whole thing. But we kind of already checked the middle term. We set up so that the first term will automatically work. We set it up so the last will automatically work. So really we don't need to check the middle. Okay, yesterday. Does anybody remember what we called the new thing we learned yesterday? I hear S's.
Square my square.
The book would probably say it a little more neatly. I don't know. They would probably call it the differences of squares or something. You remember how difference means minus? Yeah. So, but I call it a square minus a square. So an example is like 9x squared minus 16. A square is, well, x squared, that's a square. But also 9 is a square because why?
3.
3 squared equals 9. 4 squared equals 16. So squares are things that have square roots. Okay, basically it sets up just like a 3-term problem. What goes on the front? What goes into 9x squared? 3x and 3x. This is actually probably the easiest one we're going to learn. Minus 4 and plus, yeah, what goes into negative 16, negative 4, and positive 4, and then that's it.
Yeah.
It only works if it's a square minus a square. So if I do something random like 10x squared minus 9 or something, is that a square minus a square?
Yeah.
No, because 10, nothing times itself equals 10, nothing nice times itself equals 10. So this actually doesn't factor at all. There's nothing you can do with this guy. Or if you put a plus right there, that doesn't factor at all. It's got to be a minus. You can't take anything out, right?
So how do you
So-
solve that?
Well, there's nothing you can do to solve it. Some things are just not factorable. Okay. Doesn't yeah. Well, simplify we usually call that when we multiply things together, simplifying. Factoring is more like taking stuff apart. There's certain kinds of problems you want to take stuff. We are learning a little bit of a new way today, but we're barely going to touch on it because it's really more like an Algebra 2 factoring method. But so really all I expect you guys to know for this chapter is these 3 methods right here. Take stuff out, 3-term factoring, square minus the square. That's like when you guys eventually take the ACT, that's like all they'll expect you to know probably. So, on factoring.
Stop.
Really? Is it that bad?
Yes.
Well, we got a lot of practice left before we get to the test, which is like a week from today. So we are on page 426. Are you guys with me? 426, you already turned there?
Yeah.
Okay, yesterday, shh, girls. Yesterday I said, what should we always do first?
Take stuff out.
Right. Wow, you actually did watch the video, didn't you?
Yeah.
She wasn't even here and she knew what I said.
Wow.
Amazing.
She's just that good.
She's that good. Okay, you should always see if you can take stuff out first. So looking at number 1, and that's kind of what a lot of what today's is about. Can we take anything out of number 1?
Yeah.
What?
5.
5.
Yeah.
So remember we put 5 to the side. You can't just throw it away. That would change the value of the problem. You got to keep it. But what's left after I divide a 5 out of all that? A squared plus 2a plus 1. Yeah, 5 divided by 5 is 1, not nothing. Okay. But just like yesterday, usually after you take something out, you can do something else. So what's that look like right there? Looks like a 3-term, right? Looks like a squared and a and a number, probably a 3-term. Now it could be that this is all I can do. This could be nothing left to do. But usually on today's assignment, you'll have to go again, just like we did yesterday. Okay, so what goes in the front? A times A. What goes in the back? What multiplies into 1 that adds up to 2? Plus 1 plus 1. Okay, remember, some, if you weren't here yesterday, some of the problems on the worksheet were like that one. By the way, do you guys know a more compact way we can write this?
What is 5 squared?
A plus 1 squared, yeah.
A plus 1.
You don't have to do this, by the way, I'm not going to make you, but, so if you like see it in a book or something, you don't like freak out. Number 3, can I take anything out on number 3?
2.
2. Yeah, it looks like just a 2. What's left after I take the 2 out?
100.
100 minus a squared. Okay, what do I have in parentheses right there? This is a what?
10.
Square minus a square, right? So this should factor. What goes into 100?
10.
10 times 10. What goes into negative a squared? Plus a minus a. So some of you on the worksheet, I guess, flip the order on that and put the a in front. That would be wrong. 10 plus a is the same thing as a plus 10, so that's not the problem. But 10 minus a is not the same thing as a minus 10. It would be more like negative a plus 10. That makes sense? This is negative a. So my advice is don't, just keep the order that they have. Just put 10 and 10 plus a minus a. You don't need an a be in front, it's okay. Okay. It's not working. Or maybe it did. By the way, if you wanted to, you were like, oh, did I do that right? You could FOIL this and see if it goes back to that. 1, 2. Okay, number 5. Let's go big here. I think I only use this sheet all day. Like if you look at all this stuff, that's all like all my classes. Okay, number 5. Can we take anything out of number 5?
3. Yeah.
3. What's left if I take a 3 out?
X2 minus 6x plus 8.
X squared minus 6x plus 8. Just divide all those by 3. Okay, it looks like the parentheses looks very suspiciously like a. What's going to go in front?
3.
X and X. Well, I already brought the 3 down. You can't just throw this thing we took out away. That would be wrong. No, I'm going to take off that credit. Okay, what goes in the back? What goes into 8?
Minus negative 2.
4 and 2, but adds up to negative 6.
Negative
4 and negative 2.
what?
Alright, I'll split that right there. Number 7. Okay, 5x squared. No, I don't want to write that down. No. What do you guys think we can take out on number 7? 5. What's left if I take a 5 out? Well, x squared. I believe 70 minus 5 is 14. And 245 divided by 5 is 49. What am I going to put in front of parentheses? What goes into 49 that adds up to negative 14? 7 and 7. How do I get to negative 14?
Negative 7.
Negative 7, negative 7.
It can't be wrong. There's no.
So, also, if you still haven't done the worksheet, if you were gone yesterday, basically every problem on that worksheet is like either number 1 or number 3 on today's assignment. Today's assignment has more than those kinds of problems, but 1 and 3 are like everything we did yesterday put together. Number 9. Oh, number 9's new. Before we go into number 9, it looks like number 6 you can only take stuff out. Because after your parentheses should not be a square minus a square on that one. Number 8 looks weird. What do you guys think about number 8?
It's weird.
It's weird. Caden concurs. It is strange. Okay, 6's just take stuff out. 8 It actually, even though it looks weird because of the exponents, it actually is still in the 3-term factoring form. So guess what we're gonna put in front instead of like M and M? Guess what's gonna go in front? Shh, focus. Huh?
I said what?
So, number 8, looking at number 8, it says m to the 10th. Guess what you're gonna put? So, 3-term factoring, remember like this, guess what's gonna go in front? M to the 5th, m to the 5th. And for the back, it's what goes into 1 that adds up to 2 again. So,
Plus 1 plus 1.
yeah, it's not as tricky as it looks. Okay, 9 through 14 is the fourth and final method that you can factor stuff. Actually, there is, you know how we did square minus square? There's actually cube minus a cube and cube plus a cube. But I didn't even make my Algebra 2 kids do that because it's pretty confusing. But the ACT wouldn't put that on there. They wouldn't make you do it anyway. Anyway, this is pretty much as high as you need to go. So I'm not going to worry too much about the grouping, factoring by grouping, but we are going to do these 6, just kind of prep you for Algebra 2. Maybe it'll stick in your brain a little bit. It's not hard. It's pretty easy. So it sets up kind of like most of the other ones. You do 2 parentheses, and in the first parentheses, I'm going to put the outside stuff, x plus y. You guys see where I got that from on number 9? I called it the outside stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, and in the second parentheses, guess what I'm going to put? The inside stuff, which is 2x minus y. This method only works if both parentheses in the original are identical. So they both have to say 2x minus y or whatever for this to actually work.
So that's how it would be on 13.
Yeah, 13 or 9 through 14 are all kind of like this. Okay. Number 9 was kind of easier than these are normally because really what they did was in that first parentheses they took an x out for us, like they did some of the work for us. And in the second parentheses they took the y out for us. So they did most of the work themselves. But on number 11 they did not take it out for us. So we got to do it ourselves. So on number 11, what can I take out of that first parentheses? A. So I'm going to put A, parentheses. What's left if I take an A out of there? That first, T minus W, right? If I take an A out of the first parentheses, divide it out. And then plus, what can I take out of the second parentheses? A B. And then what's left after I take the B out? T minus W. Okay. Now it looks like the beginning of number 9. You guys remember how we did this on number 9? Outside stuff, yes. A plus B. Inside stuff. Okay. I'm going to mention why this works, just briefly. You know how when we FOIL, that we multiply A on both of these, and then B on both of these? So basically FOILing is A distributed on both of these, and B is distributed on both of these. That's what's happening up here. A is distributed on both of them, plus B is distributed on both of them. That's why it works. Anyway, just remember outside stuff in one parentheses, inside stuff in the other parentheses. Okay, 13 actually might be easier than 11 because they already took stuff out for us. Does anybody want to guess what we should put in our first parentheses on 13? Yeah?
A plus B minus 2.
A plus B minus 2. Do you guys see where she got that from? That's all the outside stuff. The only thing different on 13 is there's 3 terms. There's like 3 things. And then what's going to be on the other, in the other set of parentheses?
N plus N.
N plus N, the inside stuff. That's probably, we're not going to do many more of those this year, but you'll see it again in a couple of years. Oh, they were bad. It was easy peasy. Okay, 15. So what I did with the other class, what I told them is, we only, because it's Wednesday and the morning classes are shorter, we only went to 18. But I said we'd finish the rest tomorrow, and then we'd probably start on the chapter review tomorrow also. Your class is actually 50 minutes though. Maybe we could go to 20. Yeah, I'll go to 20 with you guys.
We
That
should
won't
just
be
do
much
them
longer.
all.
You want to do them all?
No.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, well, be quiet.
Yeah, we should.
Well, it doesn't matter if we do them all or not the
Rock,
assignment's,
paper, scissors.
the assignment's not going to change.
Oh.
Either way, since today's Wednesday, it's kind of like it's due on Friday, right?
Yeah.
So it's not going to, I mean, if you do it today or tomorrow, whatever.
Doesn't really matter. I
Doesn't
think we should just do them all today. Yeah, I
Chapter
agree.
review gonna be due Friday?
What's good about doing not all of them today is if we go over it again tomorrow, it'll like freshen your memory. What?
Is the chapter review gonna be due Friday?
No, chapter review is going to be a 2-day. Remember how they're usually giant?
Yeah.
And we probably could use 2.5 days on this chapter review because it's just big. Okay, anyways, I don't know, let's get to 20 and see how it looks. Okay, 15. It's not really anything different. These are probably slightly harder, but it's kind of the same stuff we've been doing. So what should, this 15 is more like 1 through 8. What should we do first on 15?
Cancel out the 8.
Well, not really cancel it out, but
Oh.
take it out.
Yeah.
You don't want to throw the 8 away. You have to keep it. But yeah, 8 goes into all those.
Should be like 1a squared minus 6ab squared
Minus 6ab squared, yeah.
plus 9.
Plus 9b to the 4th. This one, this one looks kind of weird, right? We have had problems where it said b squared right here. Remember those? Where it's like a b and a b squared. This has a b squared and b to the 4th, but it still is in basically that 3-term pattern, so we can still do it. So, what's going to go in front? A times a equals a squared. What's going to go in the back? Okay, what multiplies into 9 that adds up to -6? -3, -3. But instead of using -3 and -3, I'm going to use -3b squared. Because b squared times b squared would give me the b to the 4th.
Well, that's good then. Pretty good. The two up and B are separate. The square.
She's just saying the 2 is good. The 2
Oh,
looks good.
The 2 looks good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. Like, look at your other one.
Compared to the other two. The other one looks like a
The other one is more like, yeah, more like a Z. Most of them are
I
like
guess we go
Z's.
forever until the last one.
It's kind of like saying somebody looks good, and you're like, really? You're like, well, compared to.
Well, I was like, is that what you're trying to say? Because you go, well, it's just like saying,
Yeah.
And I was like, wait, is that what you trying to explain it?
Okay, 17. What kind of problem is 17?
Take stuff out.
Huh? Can we take anything out?
No, you can't say square minus
Wait, it's a square.
It's the square minus the square.
Yeah.
Okay, nothing comes out of both these. There's no x's here, there's no 6's or 2's or whatever. Nothing comes out of both these. But it is a square minus a square. So, what goes into x to the fourth? What goes into negative 16?
Negative 4 and plus it.
Okay, can I do anything else? Okay, we are in the B section,
Just kidding.
So then, yeah.
so then yes. What can I do? Any ideas?
You can do something, but I don't know what.
What's going on right here?
It's
Oh,
square.
it's square thingy.
Square minus a square, right?
No.
Okay, what about this guy? Is this
Plus
a,
the square.
Square plus.
so, does this factor?
Yeah.
Does this factor?
No.
No.
So the prim? Yeah.
Okay, the first parentheses is a square minus a square, so it can factor. The second parentheses is square plus square, it does not factor, so it's gonna stay the same. Okay, so for this first parentheses, I'm gonna break it down right here. What goes into x squared? X and x. What goes into negative 4? Okay, that one was harder than what the ones on the worksheet, right? Because we didn't have to do that in the worksheet. Number 18 is very similar to that one. Number 18 is very similar. I think we are going to stop after 19. We'll set 20 for you guys' goal.
We had a goal, we had a party.
No.
Dang.
What?
Why do we never
Okay.
have any parties in here?
What should, shh, guys, hush. What should we do first on 19?
Take what out?
Take what up?
3.
3. What's left?
6.
6x squared minus what?
X.
X minus
7. Just kidding. 12. 12.
Okay, we've taken a 3 out. The parentheses looks like 3-term factoring again, right? Okay, what am I gonna put in the front of those parentheses? Probably 3x and 2x. Could be 6x and 1x. The book doesn't usually use the extreme pairs though. Okay, what might I possibly put in the back?
Negative 3 minus 4.
Negative 3 and
plus
4. This is what goes into negative 12. What else?
Negative 4 plus 3.
Negative 4 and 3. What else?
2 and 6. Negative 6.
Okay, negative 6 and 2. 2 and negative 6. So, or it could be 1 and negative 12. Probably not. So, anybody want to guess?
Second one.
Negative 4.
Okay, somebody thinks they already figured it out. Negative 4 and 3. Okay, here's how we tell. Here's how we can tell which one is right. Basically, we're foiling, but we're not going to do the whole foil. We're only doing the outside. Okay, you probably should be paying attention to this, what you missed. We're only going to do the outside and the inside and see if that gives us this middle term. Okay, what's the outside right here?
9x.
9x. What's the inside?
Negative 8.
minus 8x. What's that make? 1x.
I was right.
Okay.
You're making two right by.
It is wrong, but it's still good news because we want negative 1x instead of positive 1x. So how do I do the opposite?
Change the sign.
Push the sign.
Get out. Get out.
All right. So why don't you guys start on the evens? You got 15 minutes. On number 2, what would be your first step?
Take some off.
Take a what out? X. So I'm gonna come around in 2 minutes and check your number 2, see if you figure it out. Or if you need help, I'll help you. All right.